Hi, it's Katrina! From thousands of whales in the desert to ancient demonic drawings, here are 9 mysterious artifacts scientists can't explain. Number 9. Valley of the Whales. Nicknamed the Valley of the Whales and oddly situated in the Egyptian desert, the Wadi al-Hitan archaeological site boasts a large collection of whale remains from the earliest and long-extinct suborder, archaeoceti. These prehistoric whales, known under the species name Basilosaurus, flourished 37 million years ago during the Mesozoic era, when the Tethys Ocean existed between the ancient continents of Gondwana and Laurasia. Unlike modern whales, Basilosaurus had 2 small, perfectly developed but relatively useless hind legs protruding from its flanks. It did not use its legs for swimming, indicating that modern whales evolved from terrestrial animals, according to vertebrate paleontologist Philip Gingrich, who spoke with National Geographic. Gingrich has spent the better part of his career arguing in favor of this theory, which flies directly in the face of the long-held belief that whales represent a lack of evolution. He and his colleagues have discovered the remains of over 1,000 whales at Wadi al-Hitan over a 27-year span. According to Gingrich's theory, a common ancestor between whales and all other creatures, a salamander-like tetrapod, hoisted its body out of the water and onto land around 360 million years ago. Over time, its fins developed into legs, and its body adapted to life on land. But some of these creatures made their way back into the water and lost any reason to have legs, and their bodies readjusted to a marine habitat. This is considered an amazing feat among experts, so impressive in fact that they can't quite explain how it happened. Historically renowned scientists, including Charles Darwin and George Gaylord Simpson, are among the many who struggled to determine the whale's place on the evolutionary family tree. Gingrich has made remarkable strides throughout his career, identifying several previously unknown ancient cetaceans and whale ancestors and coming much closer to filling in the family tree gaps. But as discoveries like these often lead to a new set of questions, one thing is certain: it will take quite some time for scientists to fully untangle the animal kingdom's extraordinary past. Number 8. Alien artifacts in Mexico. One night in 1999, Dr. Pablo Enrique García Sánchez set up camp in the barren desert in the sparsely populated northeastern Mexican town of Ojuelos de Jalisco. During his stay, the man allegedly discovered a strange, small rock covered in mysterious carvings, which seemed Mayan in origin to Garcia. This was highly unlikely, however, as the ancient Maya were known to have settled at least 1,000 miles away. Aztec trading routes, on the other hand, had extended pretty far north, indicating a possible source for the object. Locals told Garcia that they had been finding similar artifacts for over 80 years. Acting on rumors that a nearby cave contained hundreds more items, Garcia formed a research team called Nawi Oyin, or Fifth World, who supposedly cataloged over 400 items found throughout the area, including a helmet shaped like an alien's head. The clay and stone objects appeared to depict things like UFOs, aliens, humans in spacesuits, and scenes from outer space. For having gathered so many artifacts, Garcia's collection was suspiciously scarce by the time the academic community paid any attention to it. Critics believe that the items, which are commonly sold in the area, are fakes marketed to unsuspecting tourists. Even more strangely, internet searches turn up no verified credentials for Dr. Garcia, and no reputable websites seem to contain information about his so-called alien artifacts. It is very hard to explain Garcia's collection, and who or where he is. And now for number 7. But first, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and join us! And I wanted to give a big shout out to some longtime subscribers, DJ Bastetusa and Be in Nature. Big thanks to both of you! Number 7. Unidentified Big Cat. In late 2019, Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities announced the discovery of extremely strange animal remains resembling a big cat. The creature was unearthed during excavations south of Cairo at Saqqara, an ancient town that was home to a vast burial ground and the famous Step Pyramid. While archaeologists believe the animal may be a lion or lioness, based on the ancient Egyptians' worship of felines, it looks enough out of the ordinary for them to be unsure, primarily due to its unusually large size. In an interview with Express UK, Egypt's Minister of Antiquities, Dr. Khaled El-Anani, explained that the animal species will be announced once it is identified through DNA testing and CT scans. Dr. El-Anani credits the ministry's use of the most advanced archaeological technology available for this and other one-of-a-kind discoveries throughout Egypt in recent years. Many of these newly unearthed artifacts will feature in Cairo's yet unfinished Grand Egyptian Museum, or GEM, which Major General Atef Moftah recently promised will be completed by year's end. Originally scheduled to open in 2011, before apparently encountering several setbacks, the building will feature over 100,000 ancient Egyptian artifacts, making it the world's largest museum dedicated to a single civilization. Number 6. Dorset hybrids. While excavating in Dorset County, England in 2015, archaeologists from Bournemouth University discovered Iron Age animal bones that were bizarrely rearranged to form mythical hybrid beasts. One cow, who was presumably sacrificed like others at the site, was situated with 4 horse legs, and there were several other examples of horses and cows having their bones interchanged. A 2-headed sheep contained the head of a bull, protruding from its rear end, and a dog skeleton was fitted with 3 lower jaw bones from cows. The strangest discovery was that of a young woman's remains resting atop a bed of cattle, sheep, dog, and horse bones, with the animal's bones corresponding to whatever body part of hers laid over them. Her skeleton bore evidence of her also having been sacrificed. Stories about strangely blended creatures were a known part of several ancient Mediterranean cultures, including the Greeks, Mesopotamians, and Egyptians. Prior to this seemingly rather out-of-place discovery, however, such myths were not known to play any role in Britain's ancient Celtic population. Archaeologist and excavation co-director Dr. Miles Russell said that the sacrifice of so many animals and the unusual treatment of their bones is likely to shed totally new light on Iron Age belief systems, and may suggest that the ancient Britons had beliefs or mythologies which involved hybridized animals, just like the ancient Greeks. The bones were found at a settlement that once contained 150 to 200 houses, which was likely occupied by early members of the ancient Durotriges tribe just a few generations before Rome conquered Britain. Number 5. Flint funerary objects. While excavating a cemetery at the Karaissin archaeological site in Jordan, a team of Spanish archaeologists recently unearthed over 100 violin-shaped flint objects dating back around 10,000 years. Their findings, published in the journal Antiquity, claim that the artifacts may represent the earliest known examples of figurative art in the Middle East. The flint items are unlike any stone tools or weapons at the site, bearing no signs of wear and lacking sharp edges, archaeologist Juan José Ibáñez told New Scientist. Ibáñez and his colleagues hypothesized that the objects were possibly manufactured and discarded during funeral ceremonies involving the extraction, manipulation, and reburial of human remains. Ranging in size from 0.4 to 2 inches, the artifacts vaguely resemble the human form, according to the researchers, who mentioned the possible use of the items to express beliefs and feelings and to show their attachment to the deceased, in the words of co-author Farron Borrell, who spoke with Zenger News. While the team believes that all signs point toward these conclusions, some experts remain unconvinced, citing the human tendency to detect human-like features when we want to. In other words, to see what we want to see, even in the absence of a reliable basis for doing so. Number 4. Whale and cannonball. While conducting preliminary excavations ahead of the construction of a new light rail system in the Edinburgh, Scotland port town of Leith, archaeologists unearthed a strange array of artifacts, including an iron cannonball, the remains of what may have been a 16th or 17th century seawall, and a pair of bones belonging to a deceased male sperm whale. Discovered in late 2019, the matching radius and ulna are thought to be as much as 800 years old, possibly dating back to the medieval era, although experts were still awaiting radiocarbon dating results when news broke of the find. Once a whaling town, Leith was settled around that time, suggesting that a whale hunter may have brought the bones ashore as a trophy, although they would have been strange body parts to keep, according to Edinburgh Council archaeologist John Lawson, who admits that how the remains ended up at the site is a mystery. It's also possible that the whale beached itself nearby and somehow ended up at its final resting place. Leith's whaling history dates back to the Middle Ages, with the industry peaking between the early 17th and 20th centuries. Consequently, learning the age of the bones will help guide researchers toward more sound theories regarding how and why they ended up buried in the town. Number 3. Ancient demonic drawing. While examining a 2,700-year-old Assyrian clay tablet earlier this year at a museum in Berlin, Assyriologist Troels Pank Arbol noticed a disturbing depiction of a demon with horns, a tail, and a forked tongue. Arbol was the first researcher to notice the 2.5-inch inscription, despite the artifact having been discovered decades earlier. The tablet, which was likely copied from a much earlier text, belonged to the private library of Kisir Ashur, a man who lived in Assur, an ancient city that was located in what's now northern Iraq, around 650 BC. Written in cuneiform, it contained remedies for a condition the Assyrians called benu, which entailed epilepsy-like symptoms such as convulsions and involuntary movements and twitches. Modern medicine has come a long way since then. The Assyrians believed that demonic possession caused benu, which perhaps explains the devilish drawing Arbol noticed on the tablet. His months-long analysis of the barely noticeable image culminated into a study in which he theorizes that the ancient society believed that the epilepsy-inflicting demon acts on behalf of Sin, the Mesopotamian moon god. While it was not unusual for the Assyrians to take a two-pronged approach to health problems, using both magic and medicine, drawings on cuneiform tablets are rare, demonic drawings even more so. And although the inscription has been properly identified, the motivations behind whoever created it remain somewhat obscure. The most likely explanation, in Arbol's words, is that the demon appears as the healer who wrote the text must have imagined it. Number 2. Inca offering. Straddling the border between Peru and Bolivia, Lake Titicaca was a sacred site to the Inca Empire. As the site of the civilization's creation story, the Isla del Sol, or Island of the Sun, situated in the lower part of the lake, was home to over 80 temples and other ritual-related structures throughout the Incas' heyday. A recently published study details how an international team of archaeologists recovered an andesite offering box on the lake's bottom, roughly 18 feet below the water's surface. Estimated to be at least 5 centuries old, the box measures around 14 by 10 by 6.5 inches and has an offering cavity accompanied by a stone plug. Inside was a llama figurine made from spondylus, the rare and valuable coral-colored shell of a spiny oyster, as well as a small rolled cylinder of gold sheeting. Researchers believe that the gold roll represents a chipana, a bracelet that Inca noblemen wore. Treasure hunters scavenged Lake Titicaca long before archaeologists arrived there, making the find an especially rare and valuable one. Altogether, parts from over 24 offering boxes have been discovered. Researchers believe the offerings had various meanings, ranging from political statements to farm-related requests, co-author Christophe Delaire told National Geographic in an email, and the specific meaning of the recently discovered box's contents is unknown. Offering boxes allegedly sometimes contained the blood of children and animals, according to 17th century cleric Alonso Ramos Gavilan, who recorded claims that as the boxes were lowered into the lake, the blood turned the surrounding water red. Residue analyses and other testing will hopefully reveal more about these cryptic artifacts, which experts can only speculate about for the time being. Number 1. Egyptian Mystery Woman. In 2017, archaeologists working along the west bank of the Nile at Dashur, a royal ancient Egyptian necropolis, discovered the foundations of a 13th century pyramid. They continued to dig until they reached the burial chamber, where they found wood fragments, which pieced together to form a coffin lid depicting a beautifully carved female face. Much to the surprise of experts, including Egyptologist Dr. Yasmin El-Shazli, the entombed individual was not a king, but a mystery woman. A chest in her burial chamber bearing hieroglyphics may help lead researchers to her identity, but for now, the mummified woman is a complete stranger to them. There are some clues, however. What's really important about this chest is that we know it belonged to a princess because here it says, "Daughter of the King," and then it would be followed by the name, Dr. El-Shazli said in Mystery of the Lost Pyramid, a Smithsonian documentary released earlier this year. But the name is the most damaged area, which is very frustrating. The ancient Egyptians believed that the worst thing you could possibly do to anyone was to erase their name. The woman's unknown identity is not the only mystifying thing about the pyramid, as Professor Aidan Dodson explained. This kind of pyramid design is specific to a king. It's not what you'd expect a junior member of the royal family to be in. Tomb and a chamber at the bottom of it, which makes the whole thing a real mystery. Thanks for watching! Which discovery was your favorite? What other archaeological finds would you like to learn about? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you soon! Bye!